Is up, everybody? It is your boy Lou Martinez, aka Big Chief Burrito, here live and direct on a Tuesday with Fireside Chats with Big Chief Burrito. As always, we are bringing you information geared towards every type of public, whether you're a filmmaker, film lover, or not. We talk about all things of things, and obviously my pod, VOD, whatever you want to call it, is here to uplift people that are in my life and that are valuable to me, and as well as the Latinx community. So I'm a Latino, I make movies, I like to empower other Latinos that make movies or are in the industry. So today we're talking about film composition and a film score. What is the difference between a film score and a soundtrack, or God forbid, music inspired by a film? There's three types of them, I guess, and we're going to talk to somebody that's won awards recently for her film compositions, for her scores, for her ability as a musician. And I want to welcome them on today. Her name is Edna Longoria. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Luis. How are you? Thank you for
having me. I'm all right.
Me. It's
a little hot over here on the West Coast, but we're managing.
Same over here.
All right. Where are you?
Texas, San Antonio.
Oh, deep in the heart of.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you one of the people that sort of escaped California for Texas, or have you always been based out of?
No, I'm from here. I was born here. I did my master's in California, so I lived there for 3 years, but then came back.
All right, and as everybody that's watching, to be notified whenever we are live for future interviews, make sure you follow us at facebook.com/2mburrito. You're going to notice a trend here. If you are a gamer, if you ever do like to watch things on Twitch, you can also follow me there at twitch.tv/2mburrito. And as always, on the tube, where you can catch up on old films, all segments, a whole bunch of other content is on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com/2mburrito. Remember to like and share the stream, please, or leave a comment. Any comments that you leave, we'll be reading them live, and you can ask questions of Edna about film composition. Let's jump right into it. Have you always been because I had piano lessons as a kid. My father's a musician. My father plays the guitar and plays the tango for like 60 years. Nice. And, I grew up, one of my first cribs was 2 bar chairs put together in the back of a club somewhere while my dad was on stage in a smoking room playing the guitar. So I grew up around music, but I never had, nunca tenía el oído. I never had the ear to play music. My art is making movies. Yes. Is that something that did your parents put into music classes early? Did you always have a love for it? Were you always banging on drums? Or when did you find out that you had this musical talent, musical ability?
Do you want a long answer?
That's what podcasts are for.
There you go. Okay, so I usually have like a nice memory, so I can recall I was in kindergarten, and my the owner of the kindergarten was playing the Mexican national anthem, because back then I lived in Mexico. And when he started playing the piano, I just remember getting the chills. And my mom even says it's true, because after school I went to my parents and I was like, please, 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 I need to play the piano. I love it. And so a few years later, they put me into piano, and then the rest is history. Also, I think ever since I was very little, I always had a big bond with my grandpa, my mom's dad, and he will always play classical Latin music, and he will give me, those Folgers bottles, for me to like play. I'm a big fan of rhythm, so I remember banging those bottles.
The cans, the coffee cans.
Yeah, and I just yes. So yeah, ever since then, I don't know, music has been part of my life.
How old was that? Like 5, 6, 7 years old? How old were you when you were doing it?
Yeah. And then he will like it was really fun. He will like come up with he was into how do you say that? Improvisation. So he will say, okay, how about you improvise something, sing something about an apple? And so I would just start singing about an apple. Or like he'll like coming up with like storytelling, cuentos, and he will start the tale, and then I will finish it. So always composing in many ways, I guess, since I was little.
Did you ever think that you wanted, because you said he used to make you or tell you to sing and stuff, did you ever think more about being a singer or a songwriter, or did you always know it was about the instruments?
Actually, I think I started writing lyrics and melody first before getting into the orchestra stuff and film music. But no, not singing. I mean, I like singing in the shower, but not in public.
They say, I mean, you hear interviews with musicians and stuff, and they talk about like their biggest hits and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, I wrote that in 10 minutes, you know, in a hotel room in Amsterdam one year," or I wrote that in 6 minutes, and stuff like that. Did you find that some of your best work comes out easier, or is it basically the same process for all your music?
You know, I think concert music and film music are very different. I think the film music comes to me way faster. And I think what helps is having the picture and having the director tell me what they're looking. And so for me, I think that's a lot easier. But I love doing both, of course.
Oh, well, yeah. But you recently won and I want to play a couple of your of clips of your music while we get started before we get too deep into it, because I kind of want to get people an idea of the kind of things that you've done, right? So I'm gonna play a couple of these melodies or little pieces that you've written for film, and then we'll talk a little bit about, you know, what you look for when you art. All right, guys. So Edna Longoria, we're gonna watch a couple of her clips. Make sure you leave your comments. Let me catch up on comments right away. Our good boy, our good friend Kurt is watching today. He says, at least it's a good song to listen while I wait. He's talking about the intro music, which he wrote. So we have another song. We have another songwriter here. And then we have a comment here from Nora. Says, hi, Edna, Alejandra. Hi, thanks for watching, Nora. All right, cool. So let's catch a couple of. This is from a movie that you did called Carving a Life. I tagged Terry Russ and Oscar because I know they're prominently involved in this film. So let's take a look and listen. Wow.
Thanks.
Very nice. Let's see what I know. I just saw a comment from Enslaved by Vegetables. Said beautifully haunting.
Thank you.
Yeah. And hola Anita, we love you from Beto Ochoa. Thanks for watching.
Hi, Beto.
So when you work with a director like Terry Russ, I'm sure she has some strong feelings about what she wants. She's giving you a script. How many instruments do you have to master yourself to be a good film composer? Let's start there.
I think when I went to school, I think having orchestration classes, which is you learned how to write for each instrument, helped a lot when it comes to film music. So it is very
Can you
important.
can you write for an instrument that you don't play yourself, or is that difficult?
Yes, because I don't play string. I don't play anything but piano.
Okay.
So yeah, it's school that taught me how to. They teach you like what they can do, the range of each instrument, where in the staff sounds better, things like that. And then having friends that play that instrument also helps.
So you as long as you can sort of look at an instrument and understand what it can do,
Yes,
you can take your training and kind of just sort of figure out what fits and where it doesn't fit, right?
correct.
So when you take a look at something like Carving a Life and you understand the theme, alcoholism, redemption, stuff like that, when you're first brought onto a project like that, do you immediately start sort of thinking in terms of themes and melodies and instruments that you can kind of associate this? I mean, I heard some violins in there. What else? What else? Where does your mind go when you start working on a product or project?
Yes. Yeah, I guess instruments, what the emotion, and also the director helps a lot. I love working with Terry. Hi, Terry. I hope you're watching, or if you watch. Hi, I
I
love you.
tagged her. I tagged her.
Yeah,
Hopefully she'll tune in.
she's awesome. I love working with her. She's very, she knows a lot about music. She's very good when it comes to music. So she makes my job very easy. We like to say that we work in the same wavelength. So sometimes she already knows what she wants. She's like, I want something with strings, piano, and then I usually ask, what is the emotion that you want me to convey on this particular scene, and then she just tells me, and then I get to work.
Do you ever feel like you're using your powers of persuasion, like manipulating people's emotion with
Yeah.
do you ever sort of feel like a power in that?
Yes, it's fun. Yeah. I mean, it's always, I guess my goal is to touch people's emotions in a way, right? And I hope I do a good job, especially on those types of scenes where it's very emotional. Uh, you know, Trying to get the correct emotion. Um, so yeah, and
And
I hope,
you
yeah,
always want like a picture lock when that, because you don't want
yeah.
to for them to say I need 90 seconds and then you're like actually it's 75, right?
And it has happened. I usually tell Terry or whoever I'm working, is like, please just give it to me locked. I don't care if it's like, I don't care if you have deadlines and I only have 2 days to do it. I'll do it. It's easier to work with locks than drafts, because then there's always cutting and then trying to move the music or delete the music. It's a little harder.
Yeah, you rather have a shorter deadline but a locked piece than let's say a
Yes.
week but not knowing like exactly how long it's going to be.
Yes, because for me, I feel like sometimes it takes longer to like cut the music if they cut the scene or they add it, because sometimes you want to fit the music in exactly time codes, and if they expand it or they take it, just it messes everything up.
How much of it is watching it over and over before you start, or when you start watching it, do you automatically sit down at the piano while you're watching, or do you watch it first a few times without sound to sort of kind of get a visual sort of imprint?
Yes, I probably watch it once, and then my brain starts in hearing the music, and then yeah, and then so then after that, I go to my instruments and I start picking the instruments that I'm hearing, and then I build my library, and then I go and then I listen to it, forward again, back, like a thousand
Yeah.
times.
Well, as an editor, when I'm editing a movie and I'm making a change, even if it's at 4 minutes in, I still like if I'm working and I already got the first 3.5 minutes and I'm making a decision here. Every time I make a change, I'll watch it all the way from the beginning because I need to see how it flows with all the changes. If you're tweaking something at the end of the song, do you still have to go back all the way to beginning and kind of
Yeah,
check to make sure it all works together?
yes, yes. because it has to work from beginning to end, and I like doing that. I don't care if I have to play it 2,000 times. It is what it is.
By the time I'm done editing a movie, and I've seen it at least 1,000 times from front to back, so I can understand what you're doing. Let's catch up on some comments. You got a lot of love in the chat today. Nora says beautiful composition. Oh, yeah, we heard it, Nora. Thank you for watching. Leslie says eso Edna. All right. Frank San Martin says, "Whoa, Edna, go Spurs, go." Wait a minute. Let's not get into basketball. Let's not get into basketball. Go Spurs. I'm a Knicks fan, so I can't talk. And Jill says, "We are so proud of you, Edna." All right, thank you for watching it. Hey, so you get the whole family in here. Cesar says, "Te queremos, proud, bro." All right, thank you for watching. Now, you and I got a chance to sort of work together on a project. I'm going to show people a clip from it right now. But in this particular project, you didn't have a picture lock when you started working. This was for a competition, and it was the first time that me and you ever interacted. Which was I was writing a script for a competition where you only had 48 hours to make a movie, and to save time, we were like, well, we should get the script to the composer, right? Which was you in this particular competition, and you're like, and then we talked for a little bit. And you're like, hey, nice script, thank you.
Nice to meet you.
But can you get a little bit of inspiration from a page that you can't get from an image? I mean, it's not the same thing, obviously, but can you sort of start the process there?
Oh, totally, yeah. I remember already just by reading the script, I was already picking my instruments and things like that, because, you only have, I mean, for me, it was like 5 hours that I had to work in once you guys gave me the picture lock. Yeah, those competitions are a little...
Because I have the trailer here I want to show. Is your music part of the trailer as well, or was that not you?
I don't remember. I don't know. Usually the music trailer for music, they don't put the
well, either way, we're gonna show a trailer just because I like to brag about my acting abilities time to time. So let's show it here.
You were really good.
First day or something?
You know what? Honestly, it kind of is. I've been like in a little career transition. I was doing some driving, but then I thought maybe like spying is something that I could be good at. So.
Okay, let's just try this again.
Is anyone back there?
You guys ever do like karaoke or something?
That was actually me. That was me.
That was your music, right?
Yeah, I wrote that. Like a little. I love that. Your accent. It was a fun one.
I said I will write the movie as long as I can have like a cool, funny cameo in it, because even though I was writing a suspense, I always have to throw in some comedy no matter what I do. Shout out, obviously, Oscar Velasquez, which is a longtime collaborator of myself as well as yours. You saw my boy Jonathan Vasquez in there as well with his shirt off, looking all studly. Jay Vasquez. But yeah, when you're doing something like that off the page and then you have to do like a shorter version, you did all of that within that time frame, huh?
Yeah, what was it? Because I think you guys gave it to me like on Sunday, the day off. So I probably
like Sunday morning.
Yeah. So I probably had like 2 to 3 hours to come up with the theme, and it was kind of like a James Bond type of suspenseful theme, and I just went with it.
Yeah. All right, let's catch up. We have El David says, awesome. Thank you for watching, El David. And Slay My Vegetable says, any links to Edna's music so I can enjoy? We will going to post some links, or you can tell us, like, do you have like a YouTube channel, Spotify? Where do you usually post most of your music?
My concert music, it's on my YouTube, Edna Longoria. My film music, some of the movies I've done, there are on Amazon Prime. You can watch it there. I have some examples of the things I've done on my website, ednaalejandralongoria.com. Yeah. And
Excellent.
Spotify, I do have some songs, but they're like concert music stuff, not film music.
Now, what was the, now there's a difference between, because there's always like this conversation, like you see list top movie scores of all time or there's a difference between a score and a soundtrack. There's people and there's writers that write, and they specifically write scenes to popular pop songs or different songs that mean something in the structure of that universe of that film. And then there's people that go to people like you and say, here, just kind of compose something for. In your mind, is one lesser than the other as a film fan? Do you find yourself as a composer to enjoy films with a score more, or do you also enjoy films that just have like kick-ass soundtracks as well?
Both. I like both. But since I'm like, but nowadays some people combine them. They call a score a soundtrack, and because, like, for example, the award that I won was for soundtrack, but all I did was a score. And so I was a little confused at the beginning, but then I started looking, and then nowadays
there's a lot of cross pollination.
Yeah. It's so sometimes it's the original score, sometimes it's soundtrack, and it means the same thing. But yeah, I know what I mean. Like whenever they pick like some pop music to put into the movie and stuff like that.
Well, that's a preview of the bracket bit for later, but I'm not going to spoil what it is because I don't know if you've seen Edna Ranches, but I always do a bracket bit. So I had a question for you about the first piece of music that moved you, but I think you answered that when you said that you heard the Mexican anthem being played. Would that qualify as the answer for that, or as you started studying music, as you started sort of, I would assume that at some point you studied classic musics, the classics and stuff. What was the first piece of like classic music that really like resonated with you?
I cannot pick one, but I'm gonna tell you the ones that I really like, that makes me sweat. My hands sweat a lot whenever I hear something that touches me really deep. So I remember hearing El Huapango de Moncayo live in Reynosa when I was little, and I was just amazed. That it was amazing, and that's still one of my favorite compositions. I don't know if you've heard it, but if you haven't, you should.
I'll listen to it.
Huapango de Moncayo. It's a very famous Mexican composer. Amazing piece. Now and then, Chopin is one of my favorite composers. He
is your dog's name Beethoven or Sebastian? Like
actually my schnauzer, his name is Chopin. My favorite composer. Yeah. So yes. Yeah.
You're one of those.
So yeah, I love Chopin's nocturnes. Those move me a lot. And when it comes to film music, I mean, there's a lot to pick, but the one that I love and I wish I had composed it, it's the main theme of Schindler's List by John Williams. It's amazing.
John Williams is a beast, obviously. Do you ever find yourself maybe reading a book or just walking to the supermarket or to the store and you'll be sort of improvising music in your head, anything like that? Does it invade your normal life?
Yes. You know what invades me the most? My dreams. Like, especially when I'm working on a composition and it's been in my head over and over again through the day. It's the background of my dream. And so, I cannot get away with it. It's always in my head.
Yeah, that happens to me when I'm trying to figure out a movie scene that I'm writing. I'm like always like, I'll get up out of bed and it'll just be there, or you won't notice it. Do you ever take some of those things that you find and incorporate them though? Do you ever wake up with inspiration, I guess?
Oh yeah, yes. I love doing that because it's like you just wake up and you're like, you could be stuck for a day and then you just go to sleep and you wake up and you get it. So. Do you have your own studio at home that you can just work at whenever? Right here. Okay. Yeah. This is Are you traditional? Do you use a lot of brick and mortar stuff, or are you composing on like digital mediums now? I have for film music, I use Logic Pro. With my MIDI keyboard, and when it comes to concert music, I just sit on my piano keyboard and I write. and I write just like that.
Okay, I have another clip here from one of the songs that you think you won a grant for, and it performed. I did have to trim a little bit off the end because StreamYard wouldn't let me put the full length video, so I apologize for that.
Oh, it's okay.
But I do want to play it for people that are watching because it does have a real it has a classic and contemporary feel to it, and it definitely has like a Latin feel to it as well, which I really enjoyed it. So here's more music for Kurt, who's watching, and he writes a lot of the music for my films as well. So that I know that's kind of why he's watching it, because he loves composing and making film score. But this wasn't a film score. This was just a piece of music that you wrote for. Tell us a little bit about it before we watch it.
This was a commission. It's called Danzas Cautivas. Was a commission for an organization here in San Antonio, and I wrote it. It's a string quintet and piano, and it's called Danzas Cautivas.
And it won, right? The competition, or you won the grant, right?
I sent it to a competition, and it got the first prize on a festival.
All right. All right. Well, we built it up, so let's watch it.
Yeah.
All right.
Shout out to the Lunar Festival musicians. They did an awesome job.
No, absolutely. Like I said, with the beats and the thing. How long did it take you to write that?
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah, it's like a 6-minute piece. Yeah.
And is that like working on it every day, or do you work on it and then you leave it alone for a couple of days and then you come back?
It depends on my inspiration. If I'm having trouble, I take a day off and then I come back fresh and then I keep writing.
All right. Let's catch up here. Enslaved by Vegetables says, I didn't see you in the clip. I saw Brad Pitt, but not you. Well, thank you. Enslaved by Vegetables. I am known as the chubby Colombian Brad Pitt. That is true. Hero Team Ken is watching, and he says, I have no problem writing scripts, but when I try to write music, it's just a block. How do you get through writer's block when you do? You, like you said, do you step away from it for a little bit of time? Do you find that just like trying to push through it works best for you, or does it sort of depend on the project?
I think everything. Sometimes it's just a matter of going to take a shower and come back and then it's back. Sometimes it's a matter of just, taking a break, watching a show, calling my mom, calling my dad, calling someone just to get distracted. And then it comes back. I don't
Do
have
you
a book.
do you always write in the same order, as in like, do you always go piano melody first? Do you go drums first when you're writing? What's the order that works best for you?
When it comes to concert music, I like having the rhythm first. I come up with the rhythmic figure, ostinato, and then once I have that, the melodies start coming, and then I just write it. When it comes to movies, probably the melody. The melody.
Now, do you have a preference where, like, if they were like, you get 2 job offers tomorrow, one of them is to write an original piece of art for like a Latin festival that's going to go on tour with like an orchestra, and the other offer is to, work on the score for like the next, Quentin Tarantino film? Which of those 2 jobs are you taking first?
I hate you for that question.
This is the kind of questions I love to ask.
Híjole. I don't know. I love both. Can I say both?
Yeah, you can say both. That's a cop out, but we'll allow it.
I cannot. I just love doing both. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll let you off the hook on that one.
Thank you.
Let's catch up here again. We have a bunch of people watching today. Noel says the genius that is Edna Alejandra Longoria, always inspirational and stunning.
Hi, Noel. I have a big project with her, the Chicana Art Song project. She's awesome.
Awesome. All right. Excellent. Thank you for watching, Noel. And then KC Gosa also says, so proud of you. Thank you for watching, KC. All right, and everybody that's watching, just a reminder, because, I'm promoting myself here too, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But make sure that if you are watching this live, throw us a follow on Facebook.com/2am Burrito. If you're watching on Twitch, throw us a follow on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, again, 2am Burrito. And as always, like and share the stream, please. What do you eat in San Antonio at 2 a.m. if you're out at a party, at a recital? Because that's why I named my company 2am Burrito, because in San Diego at 2 a.m, that's what you get. What do you eat in San Antonio at 2 a.m, Edna?
Tacos. Con salsa.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, all right, cool. Well, that's not too different.
Piratas also. Do you know what the pirata is?
No, what is that?
It's just a taco of fajita, and then you just put melted cheese and beans, and you just put tons of salsa, and then.
Might have to change my company name now.
Yeah.
To 2am Pirata.
Tacos Pirata.
When you're working on something that's like that, like you're working on a piece of music for 3 months, how do you keep yourself from like, do you ever go down a path where you start writing something and then you realize that maybe it's similar to a piece of music that you've heard in the past? How do you sort of keep from being either, because like you said, John Williams, there's a bunch of different artists, composers, that have influenced you the same way, film people have influenced me. How do you keep yourself from going down that path? Do you have to check yourself? Do you have to sort of like make sure that you're doing that? I'm gonna mute myself because my dogs are barking.
That's a good question. I try not to think about it. And hoping that I'm not stealing from anyone.
Sin querer queriendo, right?
Sin querer queriendo, yes. But sometimes, and it hasn't happened to me, but sometimes directors will ask to write something like, can you write something like John Williams? Can you write something like blah, blah, blah? So, but thankfully I haven't gotten that because, I like to be myself. And hopefully, hopefully I do it justice, and I'm not copying anyone.
Well, there is like a group think, you know what I mean? And just because you've thought of something doesn't mean that it hasn't already been done, obviously. But obviously, if somebody comes to you and said, I would assume you have to have a conversation with them, like, do you really want something like John Williams, or do you just want me to kind of do my job and let me come up with something original, right?
Yes.
Now, when now when you're working with people that want to collaborate, like let's say, like like I would love, eventually I have some features. I'd love to be able to be like, hey, work with me on something like this. But when you collaborate with people, do you find that sometimes the collaboration kind of leads more into, no, I want this specifically? Or do you find that people that want to collaborate with you like leave it open to kind of your interpretation, or is that a case by case thing?
I think I've been lucky that everyone lets me do me. Maybe sometimes directors will tell me kind of what they want, but they still want me to be me, and they don't, they don't give me restrictions. And so yeah, no, I don't think I have had the where they tell me I want this and only this, exactly like this, which I'm thankful for.
Yeah, because then it's more just like bossing you around than really collaborating, right? That just means that they want to tell you it's collaboration, so you give them a good deal, but then they really just want somebody that they can micromanage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I watch movies sometimes, because I've edited several movies and I've written several movies, sometimes I get taken out of a film because, like sometimes I'll be watching a movie and I won't be paying attention to the scene. I'm like, man, that's a different setup and that's a different angle. That means they had to cut there and they cut here. And why did they use this wide angle only for a little bit? And then they went to the close-ups, and I'm like, so it sort of takes me a little bit out of there. Or I'll be hearing dialogue and I'll be like, oh, he's going to say that he's really his father, or he's going to say, there's a plot twist coming, or I can tell this guy's a bad guy. Do you ever get critical like that when you're watching a movie and you're like, oh, that's so cliche, he used the triple violin and the bassa, like, do you ever does that ever happen to you when you're watching a movie that you criticize the score?
Always. Ever since I started doing film music, that's where my ears go. That's right. And sometimes I have to like watch the movie again because I was just paying attention to the music.
Yeah, no, sometimes I'll watch a movie with no sound on just because I'm only interested in the editing. And then I'll just be like, okay, I like this movie, but why did I like it visually? I'm going to watch it with no sound just so that I can sort of see kind of what it's telling me. Mm-hmm. But do you ever ruin it for your family when you're watching a movie with them, where they're like, just enjoy it, you don't have to criticize the music every 2 seconds?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I've annoyed 1 or 2 people in my life with that. Now,
in 2018, this is just I didn't know this for a long time, but I was looking up some things like that. In 2018, 6% of the films that I believe were either nominated for Oscar or were, produced, out of that, only 6% of the composers were women. Do you find that to be the norm in terms of like trying to break into this, like a very male, it's always been a typically male dominated industry? And how have you sort of struggled against that in your career?
I try not to pay attention to it. I mean, I wish there were more opportunities, I guess, for us, but I don't want that to be like a distraction, or I just do me, and hopefully I get opportunities, and I don't want to be mad about it. I mean, of course I wish there were more opportunities for us, but I try not to think about it, and I hope more women composers get opportunities, but I try not to be the main thing of my career.
But you feel like you get a fair shake, you get opportunities. You don't, just the fact when you walk into it, you get respect when you walk into the room, stuff like that. You don't feel that it gets affecting you, like, there's not as many opportunities, there's not as many people doing it, but you don't feel that it's kind of hindering your progress, right?
No, not yet. I guess not yet. Yeah. I'm thankful for the opportunities so far. I mean, maybe I'm sure if I was maybe a male, I'll have more opportunities, but I'm happy. Of what I have so far.
Is there an alternative genre of music that if you, for example, was like, okay, You can't compose movies for film. You can't compose pieces of music for orchestras and competition. But you're going to be a well-renowned like bachata artist or something like that. Is there another genre of music that you love more than classic, than composing?
I like boleros, románticos. So probably some boleros. Yes.
If you could just write boleros on, you do that.
Yeah, they're so pretty. Something Spanish, huapangos too.
What? I'm sorry. What?
Huapangos. It's a Mexican rhythm, very popular.
There you go. All right, we got a couple more comments. We're catching up here. Thank you, everybody that's watching. Oh, we already got this one. Noel says, love the name. Everybody needs burritos at 2 a.m., right? What's wrong with a burrito at 2 a.m.? Or one of those tacos a la pirata? What? That sounds good. I'm going to have to find that on DoorDash. What did you have a particular music teacher growing up that you stuck with, or did you just kind of jump around a little bit, or kind of how did your education in music sort of evolve from hearing it, starting to improvise with your grandpa, and then sort of moving on from there?
I took several years of piano lessons when I was little with my piano teacher, Gabi. Hola, Gabi. Hi, Gabi. In Reynosa. Then I stopped taking piano lessons for a while because, believe it or not, I was focused on playing basketball since I was actually a pretty good basketball player back in the day. And I was focusing on sports, and then it was like a 6 year of not taking piano lessons. But then when I started composing and I knew it was for real and I wanted to focus on that, I started taking piano lessons again. And then I auditioned to be at college, a musician, right? A music major. And then that's what happened.
Now, the most musical of basketball positions would seem to be the point guard, because you're orchestrating the movements and everything of that. Was that you, or would you play power forward, or what'd you play?
At the beginning, I was the point guard. And then my sister also played basketball. And so when she became a freshman or sophomore, then we started playing in varsity together. So she became the point guard and I became the shooting guard because I was pretty good at threes. So
there you go.
We had good chemistry together.
So who's your favorite player, Tony Parker or Manu Ginobili?
Manu.
There you go.
Of course.
He's like a musician on the floor, right? He's just like,
Yes, I know.
I think the most musical basketball players would have to be Manu, Magic Johnson, and I don't know. I think probably like Mike Williams, that the old point guard for Sacramento, White Chocolate. He just players that are point guards that pass the ball. That I feel like that's the most sort of musical. Basketball is the game of basketball is a very musical game in terms of like the pieces moving around and stuff like that. That's interesting that you kind of gravitated from one to the other.
Yeah, I love basketball.
So when you got back into it, can you just sit down at a piano with any piece of music and just play? Is that something that you've sort of become to, or do you need to, or how advanced or how much have you mastered the piano, do you feel?
When I was in college, I could play a lot of stuff because I had lessons every week, practice a lot. Nowadays, I'm only a piano teacher and I focus a lot in composing. So, just it's not the same level as when I was in college. But I was always an play by ear student. So I was really never good at sight reading music. So if you put a piece of music, it will take me a while to learn it, just because I was never good at sight reading.
Is it necessary to have a full mastery of reading and writing music to compose?
Nah, I just mean like sight reading and playing at the same time. I can sight read music, but if you put something in front of me and you want me to play it, I'm gonna be like, yeah, no, I need time to process distance.
What was the first song that you could play without having music in front of you?
I don't remember. I was probably very little.
Like Heart and Soul or Chopsticks? Or...
Yeah, probably.
Do you ever like get the ruler and like smack people's fingers and stuff when they're not putting their fingers on the right keys or anything like that? Or what kind of teacher are you?
No, I'm a very chill teacher.
Positive reinforcement?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Shout out to my old piano teacher. They used to smack me on the hands with the ruler. I was like, no. Yeah, no. You know, usually nuns don't make good piano teachers, I find. I think that they're very used to smacking kids in the hands. You know, just kidding. Basketball, you know, then back to music and in college. But you always knew that you wanted to stick with it. There's because I mean, when I talk to actors or directors, sometimes I'm like, you know, at what point did you find out that this was for you? For you, it seems like at a very young age, you know, you started getting into it. Other than that, and possibly the WNBA, could you see yourself in a different career now, like an accountant or like a lawyer or something like that?
Actually, I was an architect major for my first semester because I love drawing and I love math. So I thought that was going to be it. I didn't want to jump into being a music major at the beginning because remember I said I hadn't played piano for a while. So I was scared that I was going to be rejected. So I started as an architect major and I just kept composing and composing and composing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. And so I changed majors. And yeah.
Excellent. I noticed that Terry Russ shared our stream. I'm pretty sure she's watching. I want to play one other video clip of yours for something that just recently came out. But you guys also won. I think it was New York Film Institute, or another one. You won for best score, right?
Yeah, and right now I'm a finalist, top 3 in another festival for this score.
This same piece of music. All right, cool. This is from something called A Castle in Umbria.
In Italy. Yeah, they went to shoot over there.
And wait, you couldn't finagle away? Well, Terry, I really need to go there to really feel the mood of this. You know,
they went to film over there. It's pretty nice.
No, but I'm saying, did you go?
Oh no, I
was saying you should have finagled your way in there. Like, in order to really get the best score, I have to be in Italy for like 2 weeks. Get the feel, right?
Next year, I think they're going to France, so I'm gonna use that excuse.
Yeah, you need boots on the ground for something like this. All right, let's watch it. Apologize for the formatting there.
It's okay.
Because I guess but it's all about the music, so it's okay.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about this piece.
That one is the opening credits of the film, and Terry was looking for something that kind of like gave like a little adventure. Something's gonna happen. Yeah, that's pretty much I think that's what she was looking for. I don't remember. Terry, if you're watching, you remember?
She said, "Make it good.
Make it good." She wanted the audience to be like, "Oh, something awesome is gonna happen." So something powerful, I guess.
Well, I mean, if you compare it with the other one where it's more haunting, melodic, this seems a little bit more uplifting. It piques your interest. What's going to happen here? You know,
pretty much exactly what you just said. Yeah, and then also like putting some of the theme of the movie. I think this was one of the last cues I wrote, so I try to incorporate some of the themes I had already written into that scene.
Now, when you start composing, how many? Okay, here you go. Hey, Terry, thank you for watching. She says, a sense of romance and adventure.
There you go. You hear it from the director. Hi, Terry.
Shout out Terry Russ, and we have to have her on the stream soon to catch up. We had her on my old podcast a while ago, and she did a great
awesome.
job. So we obviously would love to have her back on. Brianna says, "Great job, Edna. So proud of you. Thank you for watching,
Hi,
Brianna."
Thank you.
You got the whole family here. You got the Spurs fans coming out. It's a whole Texas San Diego here connection. Now, how have you been staying busy during the pandemic? Have you been, obviously you're a composer, you have your own studio, you have your own space, but what kind of things have you been doing to stay creative besides music, obviously?
That's a good question. Eat. I don't know. I haven't done much. I've been actually pretty busy. It's weird because I think I've been the busiest I've ever been in my career, despite the circumstances, which I'm very thankful. But also, it's a little hard, being basically at home 24/7. Maybe a little bit going to get some food to go or something like that.
Have you been teaching remotely, or?
Yes. I teach online. Yeah. It's fun.
It makes it harder to hit them on the fingers with the wheels that way.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. And then Terry followed up. She said, "With the sweeping grandeur of the scenery." Yes, absolutely. And Edna nailed it. Yeah,
Thank you, Terry.
What would be like, uplifting, dramatic? Would you rather do like an action score or a horror movie score if you had the option, to start working on something tomorrow?
Actually, I've never done horror movie. I'm actually interested in that, but I really like action. I really like drama. I really like. I actually had a lot of fun writing for this last movie with Terry. That was more like adventure, romance. I love romance too.
Is that do you think like if like I said, obviously you haven't done horror, you like action or adventure, but if I'm like, oh, romance, you're like, I got that, right? Is that like, do you feel like that's your wheelhouse? That's kind of where you would thrive there?
Maybe, yeah. That and westerns. I love westerns for some reason. I love writing for westerns.
Spaghetti westerns or like modern westerns?
Both.
Both? Anything?
Yeah.
And when you think of like other composers or people that you admire, what do you think? I mean, you gave us a couple of pieces of music that you said were important to you, but are there any other sort of artistic musical influences that you have?
As a few film composers, I really enjoy Ennio Morricone. I love his westerns. Who else do I enjoy a lot? Michael Giacchino is one of my favorite film composers. There's a Mexican woman composer, Gabriela Ortiz. I really enjoy her music. So yeah, that would be my answer.
Okay, yeah, completely legitimate answer. And,
Thank you.
What do you kind of? I mean, other than the Oscar that you're going to get eventually for best score, what other goals do you have as a composer or as a musician?
Just to get my music more out there. It would be nice. I think one of my goals is to have maybe like a show sometime in Netflix or something like that. It would be nice to score for a show, which I haven't done yet.
Like a weekly show or like a
something like that.
Like a Netflix show.
Yes, that would be nice. And just get more people, and with concert music, just to get more people to play my music, and just get my music out there.
Well, when I get in a room with Hulu or Netflix over the next year, I will I'll make sure that I attach you and my buddy Kurt as my musical
There you go.
providers in that process. So we know what you've been doing with COVID. We know what your goals are, sort of, to get your music out there. Do you think that there is a niche for concert music still? Obviously, it's something that's enjoyed in a live setting with a group of people. Obviously, that's going to be affected by COVID and by pandemic and stuff like that. But do you believe that there's that a musician could have a career in, or do you feel that maybe, because I think when people look at that, in the theater and compositions, I think the audience skews a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, and a lot of that has to do with music programs being cut off across the country and stuff like that. But do you feel that there is still a place for up and coming musicians that want to sort of bring that classical music sort of touch?
Yes, totally. I mean, it's hard, but I believe it. I believe that we can do it, and we can bring more people into concerts. Hopefully, once COVID goes away, hopefully soon. But yeah, for sure. I don't see it ending. I don't see it, and I hope it never does.
All right, you got a time machine, right? And you get to go back and talk to yourself before you start composing your first piece of music post-college. And you get a minute to talk to yourself. What advice do you give young Edna, the composer, now that you've been in the industry and the business for a few years and that you've had some up and downs and some successes? What do you tell yourself if you could go back and talk to your younger self?
Probably to believe more in myself. I'm very hard on myself, I guess, or I don't believe in me much. So probably that, just to have more. How do you say that? More
belief, confidence.
Yes, confidence. Yes, yeah. To be less shy. I mean, I'm still shy, but probably I'll probably just give my head a little in the head and be like, be a little more confident. It's okay.
You got this.
You got this.
You know what I would tell myself? Buy Bitcoin.
Yes. that too.
Because now I could finance my own movies if I did that.
Exactly.
All right. Terry Russ, one other comment here says, anyone watching or listening and looking for a composer, Edna is incredible, so talented and wonderful to work with. Cannot recommend her highly enough.
Thank you, Terry. Likewise. If you guys are looking for a director, Terry is the person to go.
If I'm not available, Terry. I don't think me and Terry are getting hired on to the same type of project, so we are not competing with each other in any way. So,
but you too, is of course.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Because you get an actor with me as well. Don't know if you know that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's a bit. So most interviews that I do a bracket bit. The bracket bit, and I'm going to do a transition here because I have some. You like that one?
Yeah.
Let's go with this one.
That's
a little bit different. I paid for those a long time ago, so I just feel the need to use them. But I want to do a bracket bit with you, okay? And you just have to pick one or the other. These are going to be musical scores and musical soundtracks to popular movies. In some cases, both of them will be scores. In some cases, both of them will be soundtracks. Sometimes they're one or the other. You pick one, whether you like one movie better than the other or for whatever reason. It's your bracket, okay? But we're going to see who comes out on top. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Purple Rain, right?
Okay.
Beautifully scored music. Or the original 1989 Batman, both by Prince.
Purple Rain.
Purple Rain. All right. High Fidelity, which had a killer soundtrack, the John Cusack movie, lots of cool songs, or the Pink Panther, which has an iconic score.
I'm going to say the Pink Panther.
Pink Panther? Good choice. Kill Bill, which has a great series of songs associated with, like there's something to be said about putting the right popular songs to a movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or Jaws.
Yoss, just because John Williams.
John Williams, right? This that's the early favorite here. All right. Dazed and Confused, another movie with a great soundtrack, or a current movie, Sicario.
Sicario.
Sicario, you like that one? That's a good score.
I like just, drama stuff.
Star Wars or The Graduate.
Star Wars.
All right. Vertigo, a classic, or another movie soundtrack, Goodfellas.
Vertigo.
Vertigo. Rocky, another iconic score, or another movie with an iconic soundtrack, Boogie Nights.
I really like the movie Rocky, so I'm gonna say Rocky.
All right. The Social Network,
Mm-hmm.
another movie with a really good score, or another movie with a really good soundtrack, Pulp Fiction.
Hijo. Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction had a great soundtrack. Psycho, another iconic score, or Lost in Translation.
Psycho. It's a creepy soundtrack score.
And then Train Spotting, another good soundtrack movie, or Halloween.
Halloween.
Halloween is iconic, am I right?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the next round. And you pick mostly scores, by the way. you pick
What
like
can I
11
say?
scores. Like you said. All right. Purple Rain or Pink Panther?
Pink Panther.
Pink Panther. Jaws or Sicario?
Yes.
Star Wars or Vertigo?
Star Wars.
Rocky or Pulp Fiction?
Rocky.
Halloween or Psycho?
Halloween.
All right, we're getting down to it. Halloween or Rocky?
Halloween.
All right. Star Wars or Jaws?
Star Wars.
And Pink Panther or Pulp Fiction?
Pulp Fiction.
All right. And finally, I think I messed up here. Halloween or Star Wars?
Star Wars. John Williams. All the way.
It's Star Wars versus Pulp Fiction. Star Wars wins.
Yep. Yep.
What an upset. John Williams wins with Star Wars. He had like 3 movies in there. He could have won with a bunch of them.
Right.
Star Wars or Jaws?
Both. Anything John Williams. I'm gonna say Schindler's List. That's my favorite.
I didn't put that one on the list, I think, but I think that would have been your favorite. Well, I think pretty much, we've covered everything, but I think I wanted to kind of touch on that subject again in terms of a soundtrack versus a score. If you were part of a production team for a movie, do you believe that a score is always sort of the way to go, or do you believe certain films, certain styles call for a soundtrack?
Yeah, for sure. The second one. There's some scenes that definitely just goes well with like a pop song here or something. For sure. Yes.
Right. Go ahead.
No. Yeah. That's my answer.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us today, Edna. Go ahead and let us know where, again, remind people of where they can find your music or where they can keep up with your progress.
On my website, ednaalejandralongoria.com, YouTube, Edna Alejandra Longoria, Instagram, Edna Alejandra Longoria, Twitter, I think it's Edna Alejandra. I cannot remember. But
basically, if they look up this name right here, they're gonna find you.
Yes. And then I have a Facebook page too. Again, Edna Alejandra Longoria, composer.
Excellent. I think we have, thank you for watching here. Team Kenny's clapping here in the background. Thank you for watching. I want to remind everybody, thank you for watching. Terry Russ, he says, great job. If you enjoyed this interview with Edna, if you want to have me interview other interesting people. Again, Terry Russ, reach out. We'd love to have you on the stream at some point, talk about filmmaking, talk about the process with you. Make sure that you follow us on Facebook.com/2am Burrito. Hit the notification bell so you can get notified when we go live with future interviews. You can also catch up with all the interviews that I did as part of the San Diego Latino Film Festival from this year, where I interviewed all kinds of different filmmakers from all over South America. I'm trying to amplify Latinx voices across the board. Also follow us on twitch.tv/2am Burrito. We also do stream there live as well. YouTube.com/2am Burrito is where you can see all our older musics, all our old content is on there from when we started several years ago. So I want to thank you for being on. Let's see, let's catch up here. Cesar says, thumbs up, clap here. Laura sends us a picture of a couple of tacos there. Or maybe I'm just hungry. Casey says, I think that's just clapping.
Yes.
So I'm sorry. I got those pirata tacos on the brain, yeah. But thank you very much for being a part of this. My goal is to continue to obviously all my projects are on hold right now except for this because of COVID and everything. It's kind of hard for me to imagine being on a film set one day, but my goal is to eventually be in a position where I would be able to work with somebody like you, on something, either action, horror, something that you haven't done yet. So that'll be kind of interesting where we can collaborate on some cool stuff. And I think we have one more comment here from El David. Great interview, keep kicking butt. Thank you for watching, El David. Everybody, thank you for being a part of this. Edna, muchas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros.
Thank you for having me. It was very fun. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. So we'll see you guys next time. Tomorrow, I'll be live again. We're going to be talking to cannabis cook Chef Jen, and she's going to give us tips about cannabis and cooking in general. And we're going to have more live interviews with other important people. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Big Chief Burrito and Edna Longoria. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome. Bye.